Welcome to Sonoman's Sideshow. Recorded at Grim Reaper Studios, located somewhere at the base of the beautiful Blue Mountains in eastern Oregon. I'm your host, Les, the Snowman Kinnear. Tonight, we have a very special guest, my neighbor, Ryan Smith. And I didn't even get his pre-roll to figure out exactly what his history is. We're going to learn it all on the cuff tonight. But before we get to Ryan, we're going to reach out to Southeast Texas, where a good buddy of mine, and you all know him, Pork Chop, is watching some live music, and he's here to report. So let's reach out to Pork Chop.
Hey, what's up, guys? On the Southeast Texas Gulf Coast. We out here supporting our local live music. I'd like to take a minute and talk about that for a second.
All right.
With all that's been going on, I know here in Southeast Texas, the live music scene, the local scene, has come back stronger than ever. I mean,
yeah.
People are getting out. They're going to the shows. The bands they've been doing nothing but practicing for 2 years. Right?
Exactly.
And, man, it's awesome. I just think, get out and support your local bands.
Right on. So where are you at tonight?
It's, actually in my hometown, or what I've come to call my hometown, little bar I grew up in, a Riverside Tavern.
All right. Nice. Who's playing tonight?
We got Cosmic Funeral playing right now, some real good friends of mine. And then a guy I haven't seen, Bo Rivers. Not sure what he's about. And then some other good friends of mine, Blackwater Revival. And it's just southern kind of heavy rock. A lot of Clutch and Tool influence.
Oh boy.
And, yeah. Some real good bands.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I heard a rumor that you had a boil recently. Not a boil on your body, but an actual boil, a boil like as in barbecue, but boil.
Yeah, I didn't want to brag, but we finally did it.
They got down, that prices got right, and
not really. But sometimes you just have to say, hey, I've had enough.
That's right.
It's time to buy some crawfish.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, they've come down there. The size is getting a lot better, and prices are coming. And another couple of weeks, it'll be good.
Were they fat and juicy?
Oh, they were big monsters.
All right.
It was awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a good time to be in Southeast Texas. It's about the only time it's good to be here. Spring. We have had some great weather. Unbelievable. And golf courses are top shape. Yep. Greens are consistent.
I like it. I really like what you're putting down here. So, wait, hey, what are you drinking tonight?
Lone Star beer.
All right.
National Beer, Texas.
Excellent.
But, whatever it is. Yes, sir.
All right. Well.
And I hate to cut you short, but I need to get back to the live music.
All right. Well, listen, we appreciate the live report from the Riverside Tavern. And what was your band's name again that you play with?
Human Anchors.
Yeah, Human Anchors. All right.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can do some sort of live broadcast.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
know.
We're playing April 2nd.
Oh, where at?
At the Texas Road Saloon in Beaumont, Texas.
All right.
It's a benefit for a guy, known in the local scene, and he had a bike wreck.
Oh.
He's in bad shape.
Yep.
So we got a big benefit going.
Cool. Right on. All right, man. Well, thanks so much. And
thanks for having me. And I'll talk to y'all soon.
all right.
Pork chop out.
All right, Pork Chop. Take care.
Right on.
Oh, that's my buddy Pork Chop. Pork Chop Ryan Pork Chop. Tonight, Ryan is in the studio with us, so this should be fun. He got to sit in and listen to that and see how untechnical I am in podcasting. But Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. Well, first thing I wanted to say, Les, was thanks for having me, and I've listened to a few episodes of your show now, and it's been great. I've really enjoyed listening to it, so keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
Yeah. Let's see, where do we start?
You were born here, right?
I was,
in Pendleton,
yep.
But then you kind of grew up mostly in Salem and then came back.
Yeah, that's right. So I was born in Pendleton here. Mostly grew up in Salem with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so here's an analogy just to maybe tell a story that I have been thinking of lately. I don't really read into the astrological signs like your Leo and Scorpio or that kind of stuff, but coincidentally mine is the Libra,
mm-hmm.
which is the balance and the scales, and I find that analogy works for me, I guess, when I think about a lot of things. Like, okay, I've grown up, and I've lived in a big city,
mm-hmm.
but I've also lived in a small town. I, love playing sports. I'd consider myself an athlete, but I also played a couple instruments, and I love, the arts and music and stuff like that. So.
Right. That's cool. I like that. That's the same way I am.
Yeah, and maybe it's just curious mind. I like to get into all sorts of stuff, but
right on. So, and then you went to high school down in Salem for a while, and then
that's right. Yep. So I went to West Salem High School, which I was really fortunate. It was a brand new school when I started, and it was
that's always cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was a really cool, awesome school. It looked like a college campus.
Yeah. Great
facilities, but anyway, after my sophomore year, it was the summer going into my junior year that I moved over to Pendleton. Yep.
Nice. And was that like a culture shock or?
It was a transition for sure. I mean, I've said before that, in a small town, everybody grew up knowing each other pretty well. So it took some time to get settled in social circles and stuff like that, where everybody kind of had already known each other for their whole lives. And I'd actually don't recall ever attending a roundup before I'd moved here either. So that was a good way to break into living into Pendleton. I mean, I moved here in the summer, and roundup starts in September. And that was fun. So,
and then you went off to college, and I think, and we'll kind of get into this. Will wrap back around here, but
sure.
You went to college and graduated from Eastern.
That's right. I started at Blue Mountain. I was a ball player, baseball, and so played some baseball. Got my transfer degree. Got started at Blue Mountain, which I would recommend, for anybody that's looking at college. Community college is always a great start as far as being affordable and getting your foot in the door and kind of maybe getting a foothold of what you want to pursue,
mm-hmm.
Without just breaking the bank. But anyway, so got my transfer degree from Blue Mountain, transferred to E.O.U, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business, and my concentration is accounting. Yep.
Okay, right on.
Yep.
That's my daughter just graduated. My middle daughter, that's what her degree was, business.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what she focused on. I don't know that part, but
sure.
Yeah. So, well, that's cool. And then, so now, were you into sports when you were in Salem?
Yeah, I was. I played.
I mean, I'm thinking there was a lot more kids you had to compete with to play sports, and then you come here, which is already competitive.
Right.
By the time it gets to high school, because we don't, there's only so many slots.
Yeah, definitely. I played football and baseball in high school in West Salem. When I came to Pendleton, I still kick myself for the fact that I dropped the football. But you're right. In West Salem, there's just so many more people. So my experience with football was that there's always somebody bigger, faster, stronger than you, and I just got banged up a lot. It was a lot of fun, but I guess I'm glad I didn't play it forever. It's a brutal sport.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, baseball has always been my heart's in baseball for sure. So
yeah, I remember when we moved down to Bend for 1 year, and so my son Blake, he really liked basketball. He loved it. I mean, he loved it, and he's like, "Well, I want to try out." And so he was in. I think he would have been a sophomore, because then the next child was a freshman, and I remember him going to baseball practice or basketball tryouts and calling me on his phone, and he's like, "Dad, I'm not even gonna try." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "These guys are all dunking and we're so far above what he felt comfortable doing, that I said, okay, well, that's what you want to do." But I'll never forget that. He was blown away because there's 3 high schools there, or 4 now, I think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my other daughter, Jenny, got to play for Mountain View softball team.
Oh, nice.
So it's, in some ways there are more opportunities, and then other ways maybe not so much. But
sure.
But yeah, that's quite a feeling, and it's hard to switch schools. And you did it during high school,
right in the middle of it. Yep.
Yeah. So you're just like the new guy, just like the high school movies. Oh, who's this new guy? That can work to your favor and against you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's funny because my wife Carly and we actually hit it off pretty young in high school. I felt like I was the new guy. I wanted to kind of get to know people and I don't know. I didn't know much, I guess, and it wasn't long. In fact, it was like Roundup that we started going to Roundup dances and hanging out together and stuff like that. So, yeah, she tied me down early, and it's been great. But yeah, and then I had some family members and a couple close friends that were also, people that I knew before. That was great to have some people you can lean on. And of course, as time went on, I got to know more people, and Pendleton High School is a great experience for sure. So.
Right. Now, how many siblings do you have?
So I have, I have my half-sister that's much younger than me on my mom's side, and I have a stepbrother that's a little bit older than me, a stepsister that's my age, and my half-brother Brady, who's the baby of the family. He's 5 years younger than me.
Nice.
So,
okay.
But yeah, on both sides. So
I like that. A mixed bag of stuff going on. That's exactly how mine looks.
Yep. Yeah. But love them all. We've got pretty tight families all around. So
great.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously you're married and you've got 2 boys.
Yeah.
Tell us about those guys. They're starting to play. The older one's playing t-ball.
That's right. My older boy's getting ready for his 2nd season of t-ball. We're looking forward to that. But yeah, it's been such a great experience, and having kids is, I don't mean to sound like one of those until you have a child type of people, but
yeah,
there's so much that you really can't get you can't grasp it until you've been through it at all. But I just think back to some of the phases we've been through, and I'm really excited for what's ahead. But like, you just you think you're never gonna finish changing diapers and getting past those sleepless nights and stuff like that, and battling binkies or whatever it is, and then you look back, and I can't say that I really miss a lot of that stuff super bad, but we were talking, we were talking before the show about how as they're getting older, it's just the next phase where we're getting out of the house more. They're becoming more of my buddies in adventures and stuff like that. So, time moves so quickly, but I'm still, just really excited for where we're at now and what's to come, as the years go here. So,
yeah, that's really cool. I like that. Yeah, and that's all it is. It's just one step after the other, and you just have these mini goals the whole way. I can remember when we didn't need daycare anymore. Didn't have to pay for any daycare, and when it was a huge bill for us.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, wow. So that was a huge cornerstone, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, we're going to save all this money now, but you just spend it other ways.
Find something else.
On something else. So.
Yeah.
But right on. So then you went to Eastern after BMCC.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play any sports there? Or?
No, I didn't. And the baseball program at E.O.U. died when I was in high school.
Mm.
But, I mean, I'm not saying that I was probably good enough to do that anyway. I enjoyed my time playing ball at Blue Mountain, but I think I knew that baseball wasn't going to pay the bills. So by the time I, got through Blue Mountain and went to Eastern, I was definitely just focused on being a student and, working. Actually, I was having a conversation earlier this week and was talking about how in some ways I didn't have like the traditional college experience because I was, going to classes in the morning and then working at night. So I was a grinder for sure, and I didn't do, a lot of football games or music concerts and stuff like that. But I don't regret it because it still has shaped my goals and I guess where I'm at. So
yeah, exactly. Right on. And then now, what do you do for day job? What's your
I guess so. Graduating college, my first professional job, I guess I'd say outside of entry level type work would be I was an accountant at Jensen and Spratling, a local CPA firm, and I did public accounting for about 3 years, and then with a young family, hard long office days and tax season, we kind of wanted to try something different, and I got into government accounting with the tribal government here. That was also a great experience, and I still say, I could have stayed with that job and been a happy man. But after about a year with tribal government, I got an opportunity to come work for McLaughlin Landscaping, which is where I've been for 4 years now, and I'm so glad I made that move. There's been a lot of hard decisions when you make job changes, especially when you feel like you're leaving something that is not a bad thing at all.
Right.
But I was drawn to being connected to a business, and I guess there's a lot of reasons that I have really enjoyed the move. The man I work for is just a great guy. The people I work with are just hardworking, tough-nosed, good guys, good people. And it's just, it's a great industry in a lot of ways. I'm having a lot of fun, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Side story, and I'm sure I told you this before, but I bought a car from him. You're
From Greg?
From Greg,
okay.
The owner of the company, right?
Yeah.
And because I lived out that way, and so he had put for sale his runabout rig, and it had, I remember it. It's a small town, I remember him, seeing his logo on the side and everything, and so I popped in there and I was like, I looked at it and I was trying to find something for my older daughter, just for her first rig.
You're right, sure.
And I mean, this thing had a gazillion miles on it, but I was like, you know what though? It's from a company, and he has the money to do maintenance on it, where if it was out in the real world, they wouldn't. So anyways, I bought this thing, and my daughter drove that through college for her first 2 years of college, and it's still going today, because then we sold it to a family member, for nothing, and then they gave it, it's still going. I think I had to fix one or two little things on it, but so it's crazy. I always think about that rig.
Yeah.
It's just, it never stopped going.
Love the stories of those rigs that just won't quit, that have gotten way beyond their money's worth.
Yeah, it wasn't really worth much. And so, but that's cool. So where do you do that? It's your day job. What do you do for fun? What's your, if you said hobby, now I know you have young children, so
yeah,
the hobby is mostly taking care of them, but
sure.
If you weren't.
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of different hobbies and interests that I've chased around. So there's a lot of different things I could spend my time doing, but I think, the last couple of years or so, I've really been drawn to getting back into the outdoors and, hunting, fishing, hiking, backpacking, which, is exciting because the family's getting to the point where it's easier to get them out for that kind of stuff too. But
yeah,
anything from just picking berries, hiking, all that stuff, I've just really appreciated the outdoors.
Yeah,
getting outside and doing that stuff. Yep,
for sure. Yeah, and it's beautiful around here. Blue Mountains are
Yeah.
Great.
Oh man, we are so fortunate with so many opportunities. I mean, the outdoor stuff is all over the place, and then for a small town, we've got 2 golf courses just right outside of town, and
Yeah.
there's all sorts of opportunities if you like being outside.
Yeah. Now I've seen you with your clubs, or your club sitting out on the sidewalk, and I know. Oh, he's going golfing with somebody today.
Yeah.
So you golf quite a bit.
Not as much as I used to, but I do definitely enjoy getting out there and golfing.
Nice.
Yep. I've done a couple few years of memberships out at Wild Horse, and just it's been a lot of fun for sure. It can be definitely frustrating, and yeah, there's no perfection. I would say, coming from being a baseball player, I'm not sure how much of that is a blessing and a curse, because ball striking maybe comes a little natural to start with, but you got to find a way to get past the nasty slice.
You're right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh man, that is hilarious. And I think about my golf game. I always used to say real men 3-putt, just because that made me feel good about myself. But
Sure.
that's really cool. I like that. Nice. So my son was on. He played for Mountain View High School golf team, not because he was a great golfer. There was an opening and he got on, and he had so much fun and did so well, and and then he worked out here at the country club for quite a few years.
Oh, okay.
Through high school, and so he really loves the game, and not so much as golf clubs aren't at his buddy's house here in Pendleton, and I keep telling him to get them. I keep them here. Maybe I'll use them. I haven't golfed in a long time, but yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So, and hunting, you do hunt?
Yes, I do. Yep. So I guess last turkey season was my first time turkey hunting. I got Mason, my older son, out with me, and we just lucked into a turkey on our first hunt out. That was a great starting point for him getting out there with me. But I've been really fortunate, I guess. Even growing up in Salem, we have a family cabin over this way with my dad's side of the family, and so I grew up getting exposed to the hunting a fair amount. But the last couple of years, I guess, I've been more drawn to getting into it more and picking it back up for sure.
Yeah.
Helps when the kids can go with you and enjoy it too, so.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I remember taking Blake up hunting, and we were just going to leave from here in the morning real early. So we got all the way up top, up Pearson Creek, up where we were at Albee Meadows is where we were going to hunt, and we got all the way up there, opened the door, I can still see it, me looking over the bed rail at him and going, okay, grab your gun. And he's like, I thought you grabbed it. I said, what? You're hunting. I wasn't even hunting at the time.
Uh-huh.
I said, this is all for you. And I was trying to teach him, and he had forgotten his gun.
Oh.
So I had to call my wife and say, can you meet us in Pilot Rock, at halfway and get, we met her, she gave us the gun, and we went back up and then went hunting. But we were the guys that got there and forgot the gun. So
I think something that, I guess, for me, getting into something, it's like I like to think a lot about the philosophy and the why that you do it, I guess. And so the hunting, like I said, kind of 2 different sides. My mom's side, she kind of doesn't have a problem with it, but she doesn't understand it. She maybe can be uncomfortable at times about the entertainment involved with death and stuff like that.
Sure.
Whereas, I've been raised around it enough. I guess I appreciate the idea that, one example, let's say if you want to eat meat, where does that come from?
Right, exactly.
And I think, putting yourself in the position where you're taking the life and you're appreciating doing the butchering and making use of that meat, it's like all you're really doing is eliminating the fact that you're kind of outsourcing that that despair, death, whatever you want to call it. But it can be hard to grasp, and I guess from somebody who maybe doesn't hunt, I would hope they wouldn't see it as an activity that people are taking pleasure in.
Right.
Death and violence. It's more of being in tune with nature and conservation and making good use of that animal.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I would say I just never liked the taste of deer though. It just I mean
Yeah.
I'll eat elk, but and the worst is for me is the antelope. I just I there was a time in my life that my stepfather, that's what we lived on, was antelope.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
terrible. But no, but I do understand that the hunting and doing it yourself, you know,
Yeah.
harvesting the meat and doing all the work, and then you don't realize that McDonald's and all that stuff, that, you know, it came from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say that, you know, if a hunt is done properly, let's say you kill a deer in the mountains, that deer, think about the trajectory of its life, and it had, you know, a really tough final few minutes maybe. But that happens in nature for those deer one way or another. They're going to be eaten by something, they're going to freeze to death, they're going to starve.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about the life of a deer that lived in the wild until it was killed versus the, you know, a stock feed cow or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to slander the meat industry by any stretch, but I guess just to give the perspective of an outdoorsman.
Exactly. Now, with that being said, what is your stance on Sasquatch?
I definitely consider myself more like a logical kind of by the book thinker.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm hard to be convinced about a lot of things, and maybe to my detriment sometimes, that if I haven't seen it for myself, it's hard for me to buy in. So my buddy Dylan's gonna hate me for this, but I can't quite get behind it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Now, I didn't forever and ever, and it just kind of cracked me up, because I thought the same way. I mean, not that I was Grizzly Adams and lived in the mountains, but that's what we did for fun.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I never felt heck, I wasn't even smart enough to worry about cougars and stuff, the real stuff, you know, but then, you know, my dad was into it, and I knew that, and I thought it was kind of funny at first, and then I started listening to podcasts, and that's what changed me, is I found a podcast, and I started listening to all these stories. I mean, the particular one I listened to is called Sasquatch Chronicles, and he's got like 800 episodes, and I start listening to them, and I'm like, you know, some of them, yeah, they sound hokey, but then there's just after another, law enforcement, judges, you know, all the people we consider to be, and they keep telling these stories, and you start seeing these patterns, and I'm like, okay, now something isn't right here,
mm-hmm.
because there can't be that. Is there that many people that are lying just by chance, that are just making crap up
Uh-huh.
to this guy? I mean, so I'm torn, because I'm like everybody. Well, where's the body? Where's all, you know, it seems silly to me.
Uh-huh.
But then when you hear people talk, and, you know, and I've spent a lifetime learning to read people, and you just think that sounds real. It sounds like they believe what they saw.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I guess that's the only political way to say it. They believe what they saw. But I'll tell you what, I'm a little leery about standing out in the middle of the woods by myself.
Oh, absolutely.
And doing whoop calls just in case they are real.
Sure. Yeah. And, you know, I guess I don't know enough about all of it to really have an opinion on the matter, but I think I'm willing to say that there's, you know, a lot of things that we don't know or understand, and I think that it's easy for us to think that we're so smart and we've seen and understood everything. There's plenty out there that
Sure.
we don't have our fingers on, for sure.
Yeah. Now, this might really rock your world. I'm going to throw this out there to you, and this could change our neighborhood relationship, but I was standing out back here not that long ago, and I was kind of looking up in the stars, because you can see stars here really well, and
Uh-huh.
I saw some sort of strange light thing happen, you know, looking above your house.
Oh, yeah?
But we're talking way up high, yeah. And it was just, it got really bright, and then it slimmed down and disappeared.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, well, what was that? And I kind of giggled, thinking, well, that couldn't have just happened.
I remember I saw the Starlink ring that was looks like a perfect line of satellites going through, and I wasn't here for this one, but that reminds me of Carly and her family. They were together over at her grandmother's house for a holiday or something, and they were pretty freaked out to see something that was kind of burning and falling out of the sky, and
exactly
had no idea what it was. I think they got online and eventually found out it was like a failed Starlink satellite falling out of the sky or something like that. But
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And who knows what's real? We know there's got to be somebody out there somewhere. I mean, we can't be the only advanced civilization.
Oh no, and I think that our senses are pretty limiting to everything that's existing. And sounds kind of silly, but
yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you also are. Did you say you're into music, or you play instruments, or?
Yeah, I do really love. I guess I'm mostly just a music consumer right now, but I grew up. I first played the piano for several years, and then I had some overlap where I also played the violin. And I didn't bring any of that with me when I moved to Pendleton. As far as playing, it kind of stopped there, but that definitely set the stage for me having a deep appreciation for music. And
absolutely,
I'll take anything from classical music to just hard rock, folk music. I just love it all. It works wonders for a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's funny how that, in this neighborhood especially, we all kind of lift our garage doors open and listen to something a little bit different, and it's funny to listen to everybo's kind of tastes and stuff, and we're all pretty close. It's kind of a mixed bag, but
yeah, definitely. It's pretty cool to see all the guitars in the studio here.
Yeah, I had a stint where I tried to learn to play. No, I mean, I was in a band for a while, but and it was fun. I learned a lot, and I started I was 26 years old and thought I was sitting in my car, and it had an automatic seatbelt, and I was listening to some blues, and I was like playing air guitar on that seatbelt, and I said, I want to learn to play guitar. So I went out and bought the guitar, and I started hoofing it, and I ended up 20 years being in a band and ended up being a lead guitar player. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just picking it up with, I put an ad in the paper, and I said, hey, let's do jam sessions. Anybody want to do jam sessions? We called it the Pendleton Blues Club, and we used to meet like at a couple local places around town here, and several bands got created from that had some local success. Little Mackay Creek Band and some of these other ones, and then the band I was in, which we were really popular to our family, and so yeah, it was really cool. So you ever thought about getting back into it? I mean, maybe you and I could start a band. No.
I'm hoping, my son is kind of interested, and one of his Christmas gifts this last year was I didn't even know this existed, but a guitar-lele. Have you heard of that? So we were he showed interest in playing the guitar, so we were thinking about that. We went to the music store and thought, well, for the investment, and it's easier to maybe start with a ukulele as an entry level.
Yeah.
And they recommended this guitar-lele. It's like a hybrid where it has 6 strings, and I think the fret style is like a guitar, but it's pretty short, and some other pieces of it are more like a ukulele. And
right.
So I don't know, maybe if giving lessons and being involved in that way gets me playing, I'd be interested in it. But it's hard to figure out where to spend your time. You've got so little of it,
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Kids are going every which direction.
Yeah.
I know. I see different people in the neighborhoods, and they're running kids here and there, and baseball and sports, and I can remember that and just think, whoa, I didn't know if that was ever. But I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it, and I encouraged it. I wanted them to be in all that, but yeah, that's funny. And we did wiffle ball with Blake.
Yeah.
So when I see you getting ready to go to wiffle ball, it's just like, this is wild,
Yeah, we do stay really busy. It seems like sometimes, but I guess I feel so fortunate that we have things we can do, people in our lives, and enough going on that it's occupying our time, I guess.
Yeah. I know. So where do you see yourself in? This is a typical question, but like, you've got to be looking somewhere. Where are you guys headed? Where is the Smith family headed?
Well, I think that the last couple years have had everybody evaluating what matters to them. There's definitely been a lot of questions and people making changes, and I don't think that we're going to leave the area. We have so many good friends and family. We love being here. This is a great community and place to live. So
Right,
I don't see us going anywhere, but I think it's hard to say for sure. I mean, I enjoy the work I'm doing. I can't see myself doing anything different.
Nice.
Yeah, I think just trying to facilitate a strong family unit, be a good, role model and provider, and hopefully just, being a part of this community as well. And we'll see where that takes us. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what you're showing is just living in the moment, which I think is really difficult for me to do. I've always been the planner, and that's why it's such an easy question. Well, where are you going next? What are you doing next? Because that's how I've been my whole life.
Oh man, being present, it's so hard, especially there's just so many things that can grab your attention, especially in the world we live in today, I guess. And so I am certainly no expert at it, but that's definitely something I try to consciously consider for sure, is just living presently.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and it caught me off guard. We were talking in the front yard there, and you had asked me about podcasting, and I want to get into that about your journey with podcasting.
Oh, yeah,
but
sure.
You had said, well, and you mentioned reading The Alchemist, which I know is
Sure.
Used to be a very popular, well-known book. I don't know if it still is, but obviously it is. And so I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I got the book, and someone had given it to me and told me about it. And so
Sure.
Tell me about that. What's the reference there?
Yeah, well, I guess if we talk about life being in these different phases and stuff, I think after the kids were getting settled and everything, and I get through college, I had this phase of just reading a lot of books, and I still love reading, but one that I'd come across here last year was The Alchemist. And I would consider myself a pretty by-the-book, logical, step-by-step thinker, like I mentioned earlier. But this book pushes themes of, pursuing your dreams, just making hard decisions in pursuit of something that makes you feel like you're acting in love. And it's told through the story of this shepherd boy. And I guess I'm rereading it right now, but long story short, it was a great motivator for putting me in the mindset of doing things that are outside of that just normal, logical, step-by-step loop, and trying to pursue something that might be out of the box and see where it may lead, even though it's not necessarily a known step. And
Right.
so in some ways, I guess I do contribute that to starting a podcast, because it seems like kind of a non-traditional, kind of out of the ordinary thing that a person would do, I guess. And
Right. So talk about that, getting into the podcast and how it started and where you're at with it.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that we're both doing this. It's fun that we can bounce stuff off each other, and I think it's so I guess Shannon, my friend Shannon, and I host a podcast called the Eastern Oregon Connection. At this point, we've released 4 or 5 episodes, but our goal is to have conversations with people around the community and just kind of share stories, learn from each other, foster that connection that I think we all really need to consider especially after the last few years we've had, and in a way, maybe promote a lifestyle of living more locally and in connection with the people around you.
Right. And I've listened to it, and you guys do a great job. It sounds actually very professional, as opposed to mine, which I just throw together. But I jump in with everything, both feet, and I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to interview people. So.
Oh yeah, no, and ours is far from finely tuned, that's for sure. But
well, it sure sounds like it. Gosh, you guys do a great job, actually.
Well, thanks. Thanks for listening. Yeah.
And where do you guys see yourself going?
That's hard to say because I mean, we're having a lot of fun doing it, and it was kind of crazy how it's all just kind of come together fairly smoothly for being just something that we're having fun doing outside of, working, chasing kids around and trying to have a little fun too. I mean, my friend Shannon, we're kind of in the same boat as far as where we're at in life, and it's fun to share that with him. But I guess that doesn't really answer your question. Where are we going? I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think that we're trying to pursue like a Joe Rogan-esque Dak Shepard type trajectory, but just I guess what I enjoy about it is that we're just having fun. We're just having conversations. Yes. You get to be in these situations where you can learn a lot about somebody that you might have known somewhat, but you get to know their story, and that is just so much fun that I guess we're not too concerned about where it's leading, because
again, living in the moment seems to be something you're good at.
Yeah, we're enjoying the ride.
Because I jumped in both feet and I just interview, just want to interview everybody.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes I'm like, well, where am I going with this? And what am I doing? It's really for friends and family, and it's just fun to get to know people.
Exactly.
I mean, I've never interviewed a neighbor until I moved here. I'd never done that before, and got into podcasting. And so that's cool. I don't pay much attention to my neighbors. Not to be rude. It's just, we're living, and, you're doing things, and it's like, I don't have time to hang out around the alleyway with a beer, because I got kids to raise.
Sure, and everybody wants to be respectful. Nobody wants to feel like they're that guy that you just can't get away from. So you're always trying to find that balance of we have a great block here, though. I mean, everybody seems like they're pretty much on the same page. But yeah, you want to be likable, you want to be social and enjoy, but you definitely don't want to feel like you're disrupting people all the time. But I feel like we all kind of strike that balance fairly well.
Sure. Yeah. So now, why don't you tell me a little bit about this whole idea of being a chicken farmer?
Oh man, I never would have thought would have owned chickens unless I had lived out on some big property or something. We got a few chickens last year, and my biggest motivation, or the biggest reason that I was okay with it, was the fresh eggs. Boy, they are so much better.
Yeah,
it's unreal. So we have a lady at work that has a bunch of chickens. She was able to hook us up with fresh eggs at work, and Carly had shown some interest in doing chickens, and we have some friends and family that do it, and I guess became more convinced that it didn't take a ton of time and space, and so we started out with 3 last year, and somehow they're a year old. We've kept them all alive, and we've gotten a fair amount of eggs, so we're enjoying it, and we might add a few as we give ourselves more space here.
Nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that how the farm fresh or whatever, the eggs that you raise yourself it's so different.
Oh yeah.
They look different, they taste different, and there's always somebody that you can buy them from work or something, that raise chickens, and some office mate, will say, hey, I'm selling chickens, so my wife comes home with a dozen eggs every other week, from farm fresh eggs. But I mean, I'll eat any eggs. I don't really care. But so yeah, that's cool. So you're getting in touch with, again, the harvesting, talking about your hunting and all that.
Sure.
Same concept.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I want to say COVID has contributed a little bit, maybe to just that appreciation of where your food and where your resources come from when you're concerned about shortages, or you feel like you just want to have high quality, nutritious foods when you can get your hands on it. So it's not like we're living out on a bunch of property here, but we're becoming more excited about getting meat from local places and having a few chickens where we can get the eggs, doing the garden thing and that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, in the right direction, doing something.
Yeah.
We're trying to do the same thing. Maybe, I don't really want to take care of chickens, but now, since my kids are now in their 20s, now we're just trying to play the long game. Now it's not so much about, how our retirement did or whatever. Just like, let's just try to stay healthy so we can be around as long as possible. Because now it's starting to get real. I'm like, wait a minute, you start talking to your friends and their kids are graduating college, and you're like, I thought we all had babies. So, I get it totally. And it's going by so quick. And so,
it's unreal.
It's cool to see somebody and talking about doing it sooner than waiting like me at my age and doing it, which I'm not that old, but I'm just still, I need to start eating healthy. It sucks that we live so close to Burger King, and I had the app on my phone, and so I've been working from home for 2 years now, and it's comfort food. I'd get nervous, I'd be working hard and just trying to go through some stressors, and just go over the hill, get a cheeseburger.
Oh yeah.
I had to stop that, so I quit that.
Oh yeah. No, same here. I've battled my fair share of fast food over the years, and I'm not saying I never go to McD's or anything like that, but I guess I started just kind of putting the stuff together on eating better and trying to have some goals. About a year ago, I really kicked it into high gear and ended up losing about 20 pounds last year, but that was just part of this whole trajectory with our diet and our lifestyle, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I lost, in the last 3 years, I've lost 40 pounds. Just changing like portion size, because I'm known as a chow hound, and and why?
Oh yeah,
why would I do that?
Too, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So that's cool. Well, if you've listened to my episodes, I think most of them I do a thing called words, or not words of wisdom, but spitting wisdom. It's something that my grandpa used to say, boy, spit wisdom. So, if you could go back in time, and, that's not necessarily the far-off thing these days, it seems like, with the science and the way it's going, but if you could go back in time and pick one time frame or person or historical person, it could be you. It could be you at 7 years old or 12, or it could be, JFK or some, if you could just go back to one person and have a couple of minutes to spit some wisdom, who would it be and what would you say?
Oh, that's tough. I really love history, and I've really been drawn to studying it and watching documentaries and stuff over the years. So I guess I would love to have a conversation with a World War II veteran. I don't know I guess they've been, they're called the greatest generation, and there's so many people and places to look back on and take appreciation for, or learn some hard lessons from. But for some reason, I guess World War II has been something that I've been drawn to the most. So I think I would just love to pick the brain and try to understand anybody that's been through that. And in fact, as I say that, I kick myself a little bit because my great-grandmother passed away a few months ago at the age of 100. And
wow.
She was a war bride from England. My great-grandfather was over there serving, and they met each other, hit it off, and my grandmother was actually born over in England and brought this way in the States later. But I kick myself because I didn't pursue like some kind of recorded history from her. I just wish that we were able to take more away from her experience, because she had an incredible story to tell. And we had conversations with her and get snippets of stuff here and there, but it's really a tremendous piece of history that unfortunately time is just bringing us farther away from.
Right. Exactly. I'm with you. I love any World War II history stuff.
Yeah.
Spent many years falling asleep to any Discovery documentary I could find on the topic. So that's cool. Well, shoot, man, I really appreciate you coming over tonight, and I hope that maybe we can do this again, and we'll talk about some other subjects and spend some more time on something specific maybe. And no, tell us again a little. Your name, your podcast, and when's the next episode coming out, and what platforms are you on?
Okay, so we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Facebook are probably the easiest ways to find it. And we have a Facebook page, the Eastern Oregon Connection. We also have that on Instagram, but that's where you can find it. And thanks for letting me plug that, and thanks for having me, Les. It's a real privilege to be here. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you, and we will talk to you soon, my neighbor.
Awesome.
All right, I want to thank tonight's guest, Ryan Smith. Great guy, great guest. Got to know him a little bit. Also want to thank my sponsors and my listeners. Sponsors: Bill Murphy Roofing, Wandering Wizard Concepts, Vertical Jigs and Lures, DLC Photography, The Shop, DieselFuelFilterKits.com, History Hunters and Firearm Antiquities, Metal by Mora, and the John P. Salter Foundation. All sponsors can be found online and on most major social media outlets. Music provided by Big Steve and the Trainwreck. That's a wrap, folks. Be sure to catch the next episode. Until then, keep your nose clean if it takes both sleeves. Say nice things about me, 'cause I am gone.
You had no right